backgrounds in so many different industries, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear what he has to say today. He's going to talk to you guys about all kinds of fun, interesting things about the Phoenix film industry, networking, getting ready for years to start your career in the industry. He'll talk more than just film. He's going to talk about things for all the different programs. So he's helped a lot of our students find work. He's one of the key guys I go to when I think of networking. And I know you guys that we've talked a lot about networking. He is the master at that. So definitely listen to what he has to say. He's got some really great insight. So this is Trey Goodman.
Thanks so much. So I'm not sure, is this class, are you most of you getting ready to graduate or within a few months?
A
couple of quarters?
Months, yeah.
Okay, and are a lot of you from Phoenix? Are you leaving? Are you going to go back somewhere else? Are you staying? I mean,
where the work is.
that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Y'all have a passport?
Yes.
No, seriously. Who does not have a passport? Okay, guys, you're in the media industry. All seriousness, I've been to 20 countries shooting or producing, directing. Get a passport. It's $100. Good for 10 years. It might be a little bit more now. Maybe it's 125. Whatever. Get one. You're limiting yourself on opportunities if you don't have one.
And it takes time to turn it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you want to pay a big.
Yeah. So if you're in the business and if you've paid $90K and you're at this point right here, you are in the business. Or I don't know what you're doing. So have a passport. Because you're going to find an opportunity is going to come up. Someone's going to say, hey, we need you to join our crew. We're going to Israel. And you're like, what? I don't have a passport. Also, maybe have a globe and learn where places are. And I'm dead serious about this. Because it's like, we're in the multimedia business. I've been in film, I've been in TV. I'll give you a little bit of my background here in a moment. But it's like, the more you know about the world's a complete media playground. There's job opportunities everywhere. So know where Zimbabwe is. You know where Helsinki is. I mean, seriously, it's like, I'm amazed at how many people don't. I ran into some people who thought Chicago was a state, and I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
So I think as Americans, sometimes we're geography stupid. I've traveled to 24 countries. I'm getting ready to go to Russia in 2 weeks. And sometimes it's for work, sometimes it's for play. And what's interesting too, sometimes when I think it's for play, I end up getting work out of it. It's weird. Just because, I don't know, it just draws, you know what I mean? So, get a little bit of my background. I've been in the business since I got out of high school, went to college, I worked on the student newspaper, worked on the radio station, and decided, I think TV, film's more where I want to be. Those were great backgrounds. Welcome, come on in, no worries. So I started, so I got a degree in television, film, production. And since then I've worked commercial TV. I directed live news for 3 years, every day, live news. We could talk about that for the whole day, but we won't. Worked at public television, I worked at corporate television. I worked for a long time directing every single show the mayor or the council members here in the city of Phoenix did. I was also the production manager there, so I was in charge of all of their productions. And trust me, they're very narcissistic and they like lots of productions. And it's short turnaround. They expect the world in an hour. So, but you know what? It's all good because you learn that, then you can do other things. Directing live news and directing for narcissistic people that want something done in a hot minute actually makes you better because then when you do have the time, then it's great. So I did 2 feature films here in Phoenix. By that I mean I either wrote, produced, or directed them or did some of those tasks. One was called Forever Midnight. They're on IMDb. One was called Unfair Game. We sold both of them overseas. We also sold them to AFM. So we did the whole thing. As a paid position, I've done everything from producing, directing, TD, assistant director, assistant producer, grip, audio. I've done it in the studio, in the field. And I think it's good because I really know what's required of the position. Lighting director as well, I've done that. I'm not saying I'm a master of all that, but I mean, I came up through the ranks. Before I ever directed live news, I was on the floor as a floor manager, then camera operator, then So at least you kind of understand like, oh, this is probably what's occurring, or this is what they're up against. You have a little empathy. I think that's so important in this business. What I've found over the years is people in our creative field, we focus on being really, really good at what we're doing, and that's awesome. I mean, everyone I've met, and I'm dead serious about this, everyone I've met from the Art Institute, I've been impressed with their skills. You know, whether they're doing animation or camera work or whatever. But what I'm not so impressed with, and it's not the school's fault or your guys' fault, is just the other side of it. And that's what I've learned over the years. It's like you have to be constantly connected with people. You have to be able to empathize with people. You have to understand what people need so you can be the person to do that. Unless you all have a connection in Los Angeles and you know, Francis Ford Coppola's your dad or Martin Scorsese's your uncle, you're probably going to get a degree and then look for work. And then you're going to find in this industry right now, there's a lot of people looking for work. So what's going to set yourself apart? Most people are going to be able to edit. It's like, okay, you can edit, you can shoot, whatever. So it's like, okay, what else you got? Well, maybe you have a path. You got to set yourself apart. That's what I continue to do. If I'm not meeting people on a weekly basis, then I'm not meeting my assignment. It's not a goal to meet people, guys. It's an assignment. I'm serious. Successful people know everyone.
Yes.
They do. You don't meet successful people that, like, you know, in a closet know no one. You know, unless maybe that was Howard Hughes years ago, or maybe you know some weird guy won the lottery and then he's off there. But I mean, seriously, if you, and then people go, we got a network, and you're like, well, what does that mean? It's more than just connecting on LinkedIn, which is awesome, and it's more than Facebooking people. You really need to go old school and get in front of people, because you're selling yourself. How I get clients, I get in front of people, I convince them. You know, I got a red, I got a DSL, I got all that. Well, so does everyone else. I mean, maybe you don't have all that yet, but eventually you probably will. But the point is, it's like, so why do they want to go to you? They want to go to you because they feel like you understand their project, you listen, give them some ideas, some creative concepts, and you let them know that actually you're probably going to be more involved in their project than they will be. And you do it, I mean, you do it in a way where they respect. It's not like you're taking over, but you're going to shepherd it. It's going to be like, you know what? I see exactly what we need to do with your project. And here's what we do, you know. And so a lot of times I don't charge people by the hour. I have rates by the hour, but I like to flat rate things, because then it's like nobody's looking at the clock. We're not in a taxi cab driving around New York City going, gee, many Christmas. It's just $70 already. It's a flat rate, so, because when I go into a project, I always tell people I only have 100% effort I can give. I can't do like, you know, they wanted me to do this project for 50% of my rate, so then what I do it half-assed, right? 50%, I mean, so, and you only have so much time. You don't get your time back. You know, so if you give up your Saturday and Sunday or whatever, then you don't get that back, so you need to be paid for that. Don't sell yourself short, you know. I understand you got to eat, and you got to do some projects for free, get mentored and things like that, but I would highly recommend you find out what the going rates are and you find yourself somewhere in there. Because if you start setting yourself too low, here's what happens. I see it happen time and time again. Then you're pigeoned as you're the guy that does it for that rate. But now when I have a bigger budget or I have a big, oh, I wouldn't go to you, you're that guy. I got to go to the real guy. You were kind of, it was kind of nice what you did, but obviously this guy's better because he charges more. So you got to own it. You got to be who you are. If you're a producer, you're a director, an editor, shooter, it's important to have what I call a POV, which someone might say a point of view, but I call it a persistence of vision. That's how I've gotten everywhere I've gotten. It's like I've decided what I want to do, whether it's Voyage Trekkers, which some people probably have heard of that show. I own half of that with Nathan Blackwell. We've been partners for a long time. Or some other project that I'm on. It's like you have a vision and then nothing's going to stop you from getting to where you need to do. And it's not like you got to do it in one day, but it's like you've got to constantly keep a persistence of vision. This is a long race. I did not get all this stuff done in one day, and I know a lot of people that quit. And if they quit, that's quit. I'm not judging anyone for quitting, but it's not easy. Not a lot of jobs. But if you think creatively, everybody needs a video. Anyone has a website other than just a plaything, if they have some sort of business, they at least need some sort of a FAQ video, or they need some sort of a business video. I mean, so every company, anybody you run into probably needs a video. Maybe they don't even know they need a video. Here's what I enjoy doing is finding businesses in town that felt they could never advertise on TV because they couldn't afford a commercial, and then convincing them that we can make that commercial and maybe just start it out on the web only and push traffic to it, right? Or Facebook it or email it. Or we don't have to do that 30-second commercial because that was a TV rule. Could be 37 seconds. Who's counting? You know what I mean? So it's like they're not in the business, so they a lot of times don't even understand that, or they think it's going to cost 10 grand, and maybe you can find a happy medium where you can do it for, say, 3,500 bucks. Everyone wins, you know. Or maybe you shoot enough to where they have actually maybe you got 2 spots out of it. You just changed a few things. You just have to really think out of the box. If you're creative, that should come natural. Now, the reason I'm holding this book in my hand is I don't go anywhere without a book of Richard Florida's or Daniel Pink. This one's Daniel Pink, one of my favorites. If you haven't read Richard Florida, Rise of the Creative Class, or Daniel Pink's Free Agent Nation, or Daniel Pink's Whole New Mind, I'm sorry, you better read it. I'm serious. It's amazing information. It will affirm you in what you're doing, and it also gives you a roadmap in here. It's not just, here's what I think, and if you're not doing it, too bad. It's like, here's what I think, and if you're not doing it, here's what you need to do. These books are amazing. And I'm still very old school, so I don't like the e-readers or whatever. I like to have the book, have it dog-eared, mark stuff down, hold it. I think some of it comes through osmosis, you know. And to pick it up, feels better, it gives me energy. But all kidding aside, Daniel Pink knows his shit, and so does Richard Florida, I'm telling you. So I think they're must-reads, especially for people that are creative. Whole New Mind, his book, Whole New Mind, talks about how things are being outsourced. Everybody knows right-sized. I love that word. They're not being outsourced, they're being right-sized. Right-sized according to who? But you can right-size left brain. Okay, you cannot, I challenge you, you cannot right-size, you cannot outsource right brain thinking. They're not going to write sitcoms for Hollywood in China. Not going to do it. I'm going to do it. So, you guys are more right brain than you are left brain. You have to be, that's why you're here. So, own it, accept it, read Whole New Mind, which talks about how the right brain is now taking over. How high-level companies, you know, like Apple and IBM and et cetera, are hiring MFAs, not MBAs. They're hiring MFAs.
What does that stand
And that's not it's Master of Fine Arts. They're hiring people that we lost so much of how to communicate with each other and how to empathize that's now important. So if you guys are creative people, it should come naturally. I know sometimes you get a little too creative, you're kind of introverted, but it's like, turn a little bit of that around if you can and just have empathy towards someone's concept, because you're the one that's going to make it happen for them. I mean, think about it. If you look at stuff nowadays, is there really that big a difference between like Caribou coffee and Starbucks coffee and Seattle's Bay? Honestly, come on. But you get this feeling. I feel good if I go to Starbucks, or Seattle's best is all I have. It's holding me together, or something. I mean, I was in line the other day, and this lady was like, the guy goes, I can't believe you just paid $4 for that. She goes, it's my sanity. And I thought, man, that's what they got, though. You know? I mean, can you imagine, 25 years ago or 30 years ago, someone's like, hey, you know, because the original concept was Starbucks. They were asking for people to put 10 grand down. I don't know if you know the story of Starbucks. People were like, I gave you $10,000 so you can sell coffee for $4 a piece. What are you, an idiot?
Yeah, who's the idiot?
And then there was, 20-some years ago, they're going to sell bottled water and you're going to buy it. You're a moron. So, remember, the reason you're at the Art Institute is because you didn't fit into the other programs. That's good. But you got to own it and realize that most people that are successful are doing what they call out of the box. My company has a trademark. We're called We Crush the Box, because people kept telling me over the years, you know, you seem so out of the box. And I was like, and I was 100% sincere. My response would be, I'm not sure what box you're talking. I didn't order a box. Where's this box? And in fact, for the longest time, I said to people, there is no box. Now, my fault. I didn't go to my entertainment attorney, which I do have on retainer, Connie Mabelson here in town, and I didn't go register that. And I'm literally one day on TV flipping around, I'm watching a spot for FX, and at the end it says, FX, there is no box.
Oh, they got you.
I was like, son of a... But then I was like, hey, Miss America, snooze you lose. So then I said, okay, shit, there is no box? Okay, there is a box, and we crush it. We crush the box. And so I got on the phone, I said, I need you to trade. Okay, so that's it. But it's like, but just think about the world we live in. It's all tied into, I don't care if you go local coffee shop, corporate shop, it's colors, it's visual, it's arts, it's media, it's like, it's all right brain stuff. I mean, think about it. It's like, so it's a great time to be in the business. I say, I mean, some people go, how do you want to still be in the business? Everybody and their brother starts a production company. They bought a 60D or what the new one, the 70D. They got an Apple laptop. They spent, maybe they buy a Prime Lens used for a couple $100, and now they're in like, what, 6, 8 grand, maybe 10 grand tops. They're a production company, yeehaw! That's cool. I'm not in competition with anybody but myself. You know what? It's all good. I mean, YouTube opened us up to a world of crappy video, but it also opened up to a world where people realized video is important. Video is important. If we didn't have the web, you wouldn't have all these. I do as many projects for the web as I do for regular television. And I always tell the client, I don't care where you platform it. I suggest you platform it 100 places. Platform it everywhere, But it's funny, sometimes they're like, well, this is only going to be for the web, so can I have your web rate? And I told one time I told a guy, I said, you know what that would be similar to be like if I brought a plumber over and I said, see, I got 2 bathrooms in the house, but the one's for the guests. We don't use it that often, so can you give me that rate? I go, come on, your web rate, dude, the amount of work do is the same. Unless you want to go get your iPhone and shoot it for the web, then go get your little 8-year-old kid and do that and get a kitty on a skateboard and you get 4 million hits. But what is that? So it's great, though. We can all buy the gear that we need. We can all get the editing systems that we need. I have more gear than I can keep track of now. But the reason I've done that is because it allows me to be in association with people like Voyage Trackers and a lot of these other projects I'm doing. Sometimes I don't have the physical time or energy to be on the project, but I'll have my gear on the project. And I'm in association with people. Sometimes the great thing I like about this business, I'm going to give you all my secrets, but it's like, if you're the executive producer, which you guys all are of your own company, whether you know it or not, right? Yeah. You all are the executive producer. That means you hold the rights to all the credits. Now, we in the business credits don't mean jack shit, really, right? You can have 10 credits and go to McDonald's. Hey, the drink's still $1.08. I'm sorry. It's either pay for it or leave. But the people on the outside of our business, sometimes that could be what they're interested in. And I have gotten more money on projects or more in-kind things on projects. I've gotten, locations for free that people are like, how'd you get that? This is so awesome, we're shooting at Sky Harbor. It's because, remember, if you're executive producer, then you hold all the credits. So then I can give you an assistant producer or an associate producer. I own all the credit. And there's no limit. There's no credit police. I mean, you watch some of these shows now, you're like, how many executive producers are you going to put on here? And then you'll have 3, and then 2, and then some guy gets single lines, so you're like, all right, he's a little more important. Then back to 3, and now we've gone through executive, now we have some co-executive, and then now we have producers, and then now we have a line producer. That means that Jackson's the guy that actually worked, line producer. We know that, because I've been in that position. And then you have assistant producers, and what? Right? And then it's in association with this company and that company, and it's like, it just shows you how big projects can get if you work. I say if you put egos aside, it's amazing what you can do. So I'm always like, my mindset is like, I want to be on the roster of the project. It's like visualize you're playing for a baseball team. When you're one of the 25 on the roster, you don't have to be a starting shortstop. But when they won the World Series, they all got a ring. Yeah. They all got a check. So I mean, that's my mindset. And maybe some of that comes from the fact that and this is a true number, I've directed over 5,000 live or live-to-tape multi-camera shows. Wow. So once you do that, maybe you don't really impressed with directing credits anymore. And then I've produced thousands. It's like, look, it's hard work, right? You know how it is. It's not 9 to 5. I never had no 9 to 5 gig. You have a start time, you do not have an end time. So your girlfriend or your boyfriend, if they're not in this business, they got to know that. Because I'm telling you, that's a killer. This is a single person's business, for the most part. I mean, because you got to go who knows where, work for who knows how long, and there's always a reshoot or re-edit, or the client didn't like this, or.
Yeah, and just from my own personal experience, if you don't let them know what this is like, you will eventually be a 3 times now.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, it's honestly, and the field is wide. You know, they could be a journalist, they could be a fashion photographer, whatever. But it's like, look, this is a creative business. Creative means it might be 3 a.m. when you decide you want to edit the product. That's the fun part of it too, right? I mean, because it's like we're creative. We can dress however we want. I remember us working on a NASCAR shoot. I was running camera. I like doing camera a lot because it's like, for me, it's a no-brainer. I can do long lens. I've done a ton of NFL and Major League Baseball, and I spent 11 years for the Diamondbacks on their TV crew. Some of this is now coming back to me. I've done a lot of things. Usually it's in my bio, but I showed up for this NASCAR shoot, and they brought this director out of LA, and he was wearing a straw hat and wearing overalls with no shirt underneath it. And he was directing the NASCAR. And I'm like, hey, that's what you get to do, man. That's what you get to do. What are you going to call him out? He's friggin' from LA and he's directing, okay? So you're like, that's a good look. Hey, I could never pull it off, but you're looking great in there. Right? I mean, we're not wearing the suit and tie. I mean, think about it. If you went to find an accountant, you would hope the guy had thick glasses, his name was like Myron, and had a suit and tie on. But would that be the guy you would hire to be your creative director? I mean, no. You know what I mean? So own it. Own it. Just be who it is. Read all the books you can. Find a mentor. I think it is so important to find someone who maybe, you look up to. If not them, you look up to what they're doing. This town is wide open. I've never met anyone where if you got a hold, let's say you were interested in multi-camera directing, you got a hold of Channel 3, they would put you through the guy that directs the 6 or 10. I used to know his name, but he retired. I don't know who they're using now, but anyway. I'm telling you, the guy will let you come in and watch what you do. This town is wide open. I mean, there are very few ass bites in this town. I mean, there are some, and you'll find out who they are because it's a short list. And that goes to say, you get on that list in this town, it's going to be hard to get off of it because most of the people that are on that list, they earned it. They earned it. So the business is hard, and if they see that you're serious, then they'll let you in. I mean, it's funny, we talk a lot of times. I see it sort of like it's leprosy or something. I mean, seriously. It's like an illness, the business. So it's sort of like when I find out somebody's trying to get into it, I'm like, well, how far along are you? It's like, how far do you have It's like, you're a freshman, get the frick out, Then I'm talking, okay, you guys about ready to graduate? All right, you're lost cause. So, welcome. Welcome in, But simple things, I mean, and you guys probably heard this, but I'm telling you, it's like, if you get on a project and the crew calls 7 a.m., what time do you show up? Before 7 a.m., right? It's not, it's just, nobody's that good. You're just not that good to show up late. I mean, unless you died or something. I mean, show up sick and let them send you home. Let them send you home. Don't decide, I don't feel well, it's probably best for the crew. No, you'll get more props by showing up sick, and they might go, what the hell did you show up sick for? Get the hell out of here. And then they'll go, make a note, he showed up sick. Very good, very good, very good. Now, you know what I mean? Because it's like, got to remember, everybody in the business, everybody wants to be in the business, but do they want to be in the business? It's like an episode of Survivor, right? There's always the people that are like, well, he didn't last very long. So it's like, I've been doing this a long time, and it's like, you got to make as many connections as you have. I've just recently started putting together a reel, and you're like, are you kidding me? It's like, because I constantly would have people wanting me to work for them. I didn't need I would be like, well, I just finished this for Biggest Loser, or I just worked on this or that or whatever, and it's like, that's good enough for us, or we checked on your, you know what I mean? It's like, in fact, in this town, a lot of times, if someone has a reel, you kind of look at it and go, that probably means they don't work, because they had time to build a reel. And then, you look at it and you're like, well, I wonder how much time it really took them to, I mean, I have some stuff that I now use as like examples to clients. I'll show them a video and I'll say, now, take a look at this. Now, I'm not saying it's the best, but I'm telling you, we shot that in an hour. Not because we were trying to set a, land speed record, it's because I was doing it for the mayor of Phoenix, and he gave me 1 hour. Sent him the script ahead of time, he didn't want to look at it. Had a prompter, he didn't want a prompter. So roll with it. You roll with it. So you make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and you just roll with it. And then so I'm showing it as sort of like a proof of like, this is what we can do if we have to, okay? Yours is going to be way better than this. Theirs is always going to be better, right? Because it's like you're constantly building. You look back at your stuff, if you're satisfied with it, I'm not sure why you're in the business. Seriously. You shouldn't really be that satisfied. It's sort of be like, okay, I gave my best effort at that time, I gave my 100%, so I can look back at my work and go, I know at that time I gave my best effort, but you know what? It's not good enough. You know, or things got better, you know, I shot it with that camera, now I got this camera. That's the other thing I like about the business. The cameras have gotten so good, it's like, you can be not that great, and the camera makes you look good. You know, I remember when they came out with the, you know, like a higher ends like Reds and stuff, and all of a sudden people are like, man, you're much better DP. I'm like, nothing friggin' changed except the gear. I mean, the old days you had to have kabillion lights, and you couldn't even shoot the camera at a bumper because it had a Plumacon tube and it'd burn it. Now it's like, blown outs in, man. Put them up against the wall, blow it out, and people think you're artistic. I always tell people I'm the best at blown out and out of focus. No one can beat me on that stuff. Well, good. Then maybe we'll work together, you know. But it's funny, and I watch a lot of television because I try to, and I've shot, I've shot for Network, I've shot for ABC News, I've shot for Biggest Loser, I've shot for MTV. I don't shoot as much now as I used to because I'm more into producing and directing, but I know my way around a camera and I know how to compose a shot. But it's interesting how things have changed over the years. When I first started, if you didn't shoot someone on a tripod, they'd fire your ass. What are you, an idiot? Now they're like, what is that? Is that to put your drink on? I remember Biggest Loser came to town. I was working with him for like 2 weeks. It was a couple seasons ago. There was a couple like Tongans that were in the finals or something. And they wanted to do all these interviews and stuff. We were shooting. That's an HD, you know, NBC prime time, right? HD show. You're thinking, hey, I'm in the bigs, baby. They showed up. We were shooting with 4 different cameras. We're shooting what are the Panasonic 100s or something? Those are tape cameras. Those are SD. I said to the producer off the side, I said, what? Are we just shooting like the B-rolls? No, we're doing this is yeah, we'll up convert it in LA. Like, okay. And then I'm sitting there, what the hell would they do? And then I'm like, going like, well, you know how this stuff works. The network hires a company, and they're to deliver the project, so it's more money in the producer's pocket if they can. So I'm like, whatever, I know how to shoot with this piece of crap. I felt like finally made it to the Yankees, and they handed me like a Little League mitt. You freaking kidding me? I look over the audio guy, he's got way better gear than I got. You know, I'm like, this is stupid. So anyway, I was like, whatever. They're paying me $6 a day. Who cares? So we're shooting around. He's like, hey, I want to do this interview. I want to do this sit-down interview. And I'm like, okay. How long is it going to be? Like 5-10 minutes? No, we want to get pretty in-depth here. Shoot about 30-35 minutes. I go, that's kind of hard to hold handheld with this little toy. You know, I'm used to bigger, heavier, you know. He's like, well, can you find like some sort of I don't know, find a tripod or something. We're at friggin' South Mountain Park. Well, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know, a trash can, a rock, something, you know? Like, are you freaking, what? He's serious. So I found a trash can, I turned it upside down, put the camera on. I told the audio guy, here, snap a picture of this shit. I gotta let people know I'm shooting Biggest Loser. I go, you know what? No, I'm the Biggest Loser. I was like, it's like, you gotta love this business. And I kept looking over, the grip's over there just playing hacky sack, you know? And I'm like, oh my God. And then the topper was the producer who they weren't from here. He's like, hey, I need you to get me some epic B-roll shots later today. I said, okay. He goes, what do you want? He goes, see, yeah, epic. He kept using the word epic. I'm like, I said, I'm the best at that. He said, yeah, I want to get some shots of these giant cigarros. He goes, yeah. And I said, so I just said it right back straight. You want me to get some epic shots of the giant cigarros? He said, yeah. I said, you got it. I'll get the biggest cigarro I can get, and I will shoot that for you. This guy's from LA. He's not from like, you know, friggin', yeah, I mean, like, what? So anyway, I mean, and I got a ton of stories, and I will give you guys my cards. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East shooting. We did a 10-part series called it's the history of the Bible. It's called Footprints of God. We got held hostage in Egypt. That's a story. But I can't impress this enough with people. I always tell them, doing the same thing, expecting different results, you know, that's not my quote. I think Albert Einstein said it or something. It's a definition of insanity. Okay, you got to change it up, remember? You guys are the leaders. You're the creative people. We're not the sheeples, as I call most of the people. We're not the sheeples. You don't stand in line at Starbucks. You move over to Lucy's, which is a local coffee shop on 60th Street in Bethany. If you haven't been there, go. But you know what I'm saying? And there's a Starbucks across the street.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Step out. You guys need to be the innovators, right? Don't be doing what everyone else is doing because you're going to get the same results, which is 7% unemployment, which we all know is bullshit. It's more like 15, and it's working for $8 to $10 an hour. No, that's not what you're going to do. Because then you're going to do that for 2 or 3 years, and then you're going to get tired, and you can't pay back your student loan, and next thing you know, you're working at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So it's like, look at it as it's a positive right now. It's an open table. There's a lot of people looking for work, but there's a lot of people that are like depressed and don't know where to turn. Creative people will always find a way. You know what I mean? So, and if you use some of these resources, these books give you ideas and tell you what other people are doing. It's not just, here's what I did, haha, and I'm making a lot of money. That's what I like about Daniel Pink. He writes to you, and you listen to it, and you're like, wow, that really makes a lot of sense. And when you work with people, you have to really have a lot of empathy. I mean, I heard a long time ago people said, managers do head counts, but leaders make everyone count. And it's like, so when you're on the set, it's important because I found this too. At times maybe I've been producing something and some guy was a grip or he was an AD or what, and then the next thing you know, a year from now, he's doing some big project and I'm working for him. You don't know who's watching, you don't know who's going to be the next big thing. May not be you, may be you, but it's like if you don't empathize with what other people are doing, I mean, who knows? Somebody here might win the lottery tomorrow. Next thing you know, they're all that in a bag of chips, and you want to work for them, but you pissed them off, so now you're out. So, I don't know. I think you have to work at being mean and unfriendly. I think it's easier just to be positive. That's honestly what I've found. You stay relevant, and this is why I have so many projects. People always ask me, what are you doing? I say, numerous projects in various stages of development. Memorize that line. You say, what are you? I'm a producer director. What do you got going on? Well, I got numerous projects in various stages of development. At least that gives you a little bit, and then you can now think about what it is instead of going, But, and it's true. You should have numerous projects in various stages of development. You should. And I do. And I always have. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in the business. You're either all in or you're all out. This is not this is not a hobby. Once again, remember, this is an illness / profession. So if you're at this point, I know about 90K, somewhere in there, right? Okay, so you guys playing at the big poker table.
Yeah.
So it wasn't $10 and then you go play the slots now. No. So, and I know a lot of times people get to this point and they're like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, where I'm going to find a gig. But it's like, get the passport, make as many connections as you can. I know everybody because I made it a point to know everybody. I mean, nobody can, I don't sit at my house, I wonder who's going to knock on my door today. Oh, Girl Scouts, cookies. No, you know, I mean, it's like you have to, like I said, I make it a task and I make it a fun task. I came here today thinking, you know what, I think the only person I'm probably going to know is Chad. So this is awesome. I'm going to meet all these people. They don't know me, I don't know them. I'm just going to be straight up, tell them the story, give them my card. You never know where to lead. You do not know. And also, if you don't have a business card, come on. I don't even want to talk to you. This is ridiculous. Get friggin' card. It's like a ball player not having a mitt. Hey, I want to try out. Okay, kid, I'll give you one. I don't have a mitt.
Several people in here have worked for you indirectly as crew members on your voyage directors program.
I greatly appreciate that, even though I did not meet you. But I do appreciate that. No, Nathan and I have done a lot, and so he's running with that show. We have our meetings off to the side, and then he goes and has fun with it, and I'm off doing some other things, but very aware of the program. I've tried to get out to set more than I could, I wanted to get out more, but there's always something coming up. But no, I'm very much, in fact, we just had a meeting yesterday, and we're deciding if we're going to do a season 3 or if we're going to do a feature. Well, there's some news for you. Except he probably came and already told you that when he spoke. I don't know.
We don't know the answer, though.
We don't either. We're actually meeting again next week. I like to keep things organic. I like to keep things, when I'm in charge on the set, I like to take all the information in and make a decision, because it's like I've seen some of the best concepts come from the makeup person or the grip or whatever. Because if you invite people, before we roll, don't tell me after we shot the friggin' scene that something was stupid, Let us know ahead of time. But I mean, I just think it's a team sport. I know we've all heard about Robert Rodriguez. He gave his blood, and then he did the whole movie himself, and then, yeah, I don't buy all that. He might have got it up to a point, but then in Hollywood they came in and fixed it and all that. But that's so narcissistic. Do you honestly think you're the best? You guys think you're the best producer, director, shooter, editor? You know, I don't. Come on, give me a break. No way. There's just no way. What you want to do is field a team. Maybe you're the manager, you're going to find a first baseman, or maybe the first baseman looking for a manager. But I mean, it's like put the team together. And it's fun to work with different people because you'd be surprised. I'm always amazed at times. It's like, holy cow, that looks even better than I thought. And it's super. I'm the producer now. I get more credit. You know, so it's like, wow, look at that. You know, yay. So it's fun. Let me see what else I wanted to mention today. Oh, this to me is very important. If you haven't failed lately, you're not trying hard enough. And I'm serious about that. You got to fail because it's like, that means you're not really trying. Because nobody's so good that everything they do is just perfect. So if you're not failing, then you're not trying. And I have been turned down more than a bed at Motel 6. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Especially going out looking for money. Or, because here's the thing on looking for money. Everybody wants to talk to you, but very few people want to actually write the check. And it's like, I haven't figured out a meter yet that can tell the difference. Because if you could sell that sucker. Because, you know, it's like, you got to figure out when there's like, okay, this is just stringing me on, you know. But I mean, I formed LLCs and I raised money for both of those features that we did. So it wasn't like we did it for $5. We didn't do it for $1 million. This is Arizona, for God's sake. If you spend more than, if you don't have a name in your project and you spend more than $100,000, you're an idiot. And you need to hire me because I could do it for a lot less than that. I've never paid for a location in this state. I have production insurance, which is important because most people don't get it or get in association with someone that does. And then offer them a credit and offer them, you know, tickets to the showing or whatever. We've always had the showing. If we don't have it at a Harkins or an AMC, we'll have it at Film Bar someplace, right? Someplace, yeah, Film Bar. I love Film Bar, Kelly. Because, see, that's what they don't have. So you have that. That doesn't seem maybe that big to you. That's important to them. Or you maybe put their daughter in some scene in the back. Figure it out. Don't be paying for locations. It's stupid. Put the money in the film, right? Put the money in the film. Get a name actor for a day or two. Go ultra SAG or whatever. I mean, you know, ultra low budget SAG or whatever. Work it out. But it's like, don't be spending more than $100,000. Not in this day and age when you're not buying film. You know, when we shot one of our first things, we actually, you know, had a camera and an Aeroflot. That means money, 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 money. And then guess what? When you go take it over to Photochem in LA and they transfer it, maybe there was 200 feet out of focus. It's not like going to Walgreens and you say you don't want that pic. No, you're paying for that. You're paying for that. You do the telecine, they dump it to whatever format, 1 inch or some crap, whatever. You're paying for it. And they don't care what story you got. Dog ate your homework, your mom died, whatever. They're not releasing it out of their vault unless you pay for it. You guys got it lucky, shooting it all on, you know, DSLR and watch it right then and there. You know, back then we had to do video assist, you know, right? I mean, that's how it was done. But we still did it. So it's like, you know, you shoot with a DSLR or a Red or a C300 or what have you know. There's always some new camera coming out. Oh, this is the best camera. But you know what the bottom line is you got to tell a good story. I don't care what you shoot it with. Okay, all the special effects. You know, sometimes you fall in love with your own work because it's almost becoming this demo reel. It's like, if you tell a great story, trust me, I don't know who your favorite, you know, if your favorite person, you know, whoever, it's Tom Cruise or something. If there's a story breaking on Cruise and it's on the air and it's shot with an iPhone of him announcing that he's no longer a Scientologist or something, you're going to watch that. You don't care that it wasn't shot on a red and lit and all this stuff. I mean jack to you because it's the story. So, and I know some of that falls into news versus, you know, production. I've done both, but I'm just saying it's like, you watch like Searching for Sugarman, a phenomenal documentary. A lot of that was shot on like an iPad or whatever. I mean, it's because it's a great story. So, yeah, I've got Red and DSLR and I like to use all the top stuff, but it's like, come on. Bottom line is, remember who's watching it? They don't know red from blue. You tell them you have a blue camera. I don't know, green camera. I mean, you know, we know red, but you know, jack to them. Nobody goes to a movie and it's like, oh, I didn't shoot that on a red. I'm not, and it's not really up to my thing. I don't care what it's shot on, really, right? You just want to just roll the damn thing, right? So, I mean, It's fun, you guys, and you guys have a lot of great equipment here. I'm very impressed with the Art Institute. Like I said, everyone that's come out of here, I'm impressed. Seriously, I've used them on other projects. I just did a show recently called A Night at the Crescent. I had this idea that I wanted to do a Austin City Limits for Phoenix, and when the Crescent Ballroom opened, I was like, that's the venue. So it took me a while to finally figure out who the hell's in charge over there, because they don't know. And then I went to Laura, and I got several students, Chad, Dakota, some other ones I forget. They know who they are. And we did 7 cameras, we had a jib, whatever, and we did like a Austin City Limits program, if you know what that PBS is, music show. We shot it with a local band called the Sugar Thieves. Anyway, and it aired on PBS, yay!
And it was
So
really cool.
yeah, it was good, and it was a pilot concept. They're now going back to the folks and trying to convince them this is what we should do, and I need a little more movability, because I really want to do a live switch with a TriCaster versus we shot it and synced it all, etc. You know. So anyway, point is, this town is open. You can do stuff like that. And it's like, go try doing that in LA. Just this talk in LA probably cost us something. Yeah. If 2 people go get in a Starbucks and mention film, and someone comes over and bills you for that, it's going to be $4.50 for that. Yeah. I mean, I'm serious. This town is still, people are still excited. Like, wow, yeah, I'd like to be involved, or yeah, you can use my place, or, I mean, on both.
That excitement is building.
Yeah, I think it is, and both features I did as well. We never paid for any food, and we weren't serving pizza. We had real food every night. Because what we did is ahead of time, I went out and got the letterhead and showed, and said, and just went to local businesses. Can you provide the food for one day of the shoot? It's 18-day shoot, 20-day shoot. You go find 20 businesses, put them in the credits, give them tickets, whatever. Yeah, it can be done. You can do that in LA. Good luck. So remember, put the money on the screen. So that's why we did, food, locations, costumes, beg, borrow, steal, whatever, right? And then put the money on the screen with extra day of shooting, more days of setup, pay for a DP, pay for an LD, certain positions you got to pay for. If you don't, you will pay for it. You'll just pay for it in another way. Wow, that is kind of dark. Huh. Thought you had enough light on that. Not so much. So anyway, that's pretty much what I'm here to talk about. I always want people to be positive. No one promised you tomorrow. If they did, please let me know who that was, because no one's promising me tomorrow. So when I wake up, I'm always like, hey, I got another at bat. Do a lot of baseball analogy. My son's a college baseball coach. And I will never take strike 3 looking. I'm always going to swing. Maybe sometimes that's not a good thing, but I'm always going to swing. I don't want to blame it on someone. I don't know. So I encourage you to continue to think out of this box that all the other schools have built. We'll crush the damn thing. We'll smash it into bits. I'm here to help you at any time. I have 1,000 stories. I've been all over, done a ton of projects, but I don't want to bore you with all that. If you have specific questions, happy to answer them about a project or about anything. I'll leave you my cards. I'm always available. Chad knows I get back to people. Text me, email me, call me. If I'm in the state of Arizona, I will definitely meet up with you, because somebody here is going to be the next great producer, director. I mean, seriously, and this is where they come from. This is where they come from, no doubt. I mean, I think GCU, Grand Canyon University, I don't know if that's a bad word to say here, but I think they're running a good program over there.
Yeah.
You know?
We've got a lot of our alumni there.
Yeah, they're doing some good things. Yeah. They're doing some right things, and I think Art Institute, not impressed with, I've worked a lot with ASU. They're on a different track. They're pushing basically what they call MMJ. They say multimedia journalist. I call it multimedia jackass, because I've worked with them, and all they know on the camera is everything goes to auto. Nice. And you can always fix it in post. It used to be a joke, fix it in post. But you know what, unfortunately nowadays, you can fix a lot of shit in post. You can't fix bad acting though. But you can fix a lot of stuff in post. And I think ASU really pushes like, yeah, you just put more effects in. And then you forget what the story was. It's all, yeah. We need more effects. But it's like Final Cut 7 or 10, whichever one. 10 don't talk to 7, 7 don't talk to 10. Some people call it X, whatever. It's like ASU really pushes that, and then you get the little backpack and you put it on and you go out and you shoot yourself. But you guys are doing production. But just remember though, there's a lot of business in corporate. I've made more money doing corporate videos than probably anything else other than maybe the documentaries overseas.
That's awesome.
And they're boring as hell, but corporate usually pays you. They usually don't haggle. They pay you big money. I've gone up, I don't know how many times, like spent a week recently in Denver, and I directed a week's worth of shows for Key Bank. It was like, they bring in their top salesperson, all this stuff, multicam, whatever. But it's like, hey, they'll pay your rate. They'll put you up in the Hyatt Regency. They're like, hey, So where every time MTV would call, honestly, and this is a slam on them, and they deserve one, they'll be like, we're MTV. Yeah, I know you said that. Yeah, so we're going to be doing this really cool shoot. I did one with Kurt Cobain one time with them, so props to them. That was cool. Okay, that shows you how old I am. But 9 times out of 10, they were like, we're going to give you all this great swag.
Swag.
It's going to look good on your resume. I go, that would be what, page 4?
Yeah.
And then their 10-hour day, bullshit. Try 14 to 15-hour days for MTV. And they're trying to 10-hour flat you, And at the end of the shoot, we'll all buy you drinks. Yeah, I've never had that. That'll be awesome. Friggin' a bottle of tequila is $18. Come on, man. I can't even drink all that. But it was like, I remember I was shooting for Depeche Mode, MTV, and the producer, I was like, where the frick's the producer? He's in the friggin' mosh pit. The kid was like 21, just, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's MTV for you. Honestly, I don't think they paid the producers, but it's sort of like, we're MTV, baby. Yeah. Here's your $20 for a week. MTV. So it was just like, I did a thing with Depeche Mode. But anyway, a lot of different, a lot of band. I don't know. I did a lot of Lollapalooza stuff, and when you open yourself that you can shoot or do sound or produce or direct or AD or whatever, and this is a right to work state. Remember, that's a good thing for us.
You might want to explain to them.
Yeah. Obviously, certain states are union, certain states aren't. So in Arizona, you basically, if like ABC News comes over, it was always funny, they'd come over and they'd hire me. Now you're going to have to work under our union rates, which means we're going to have to pay you like $600 a day, and if you don't get your morning break, you get a half-hour meal pen, At the end of the day, you're making like $850. You're like, okay, if I must. And then if you do that for like, I think it's like in every quarter, if you've done like 6 shoots for them, then you have to join the union. But if not, you have to at least work under their union rules, So it's like, yeah, I guess I'll take it. What the hell? That was so funny. You're like, hey, you got a meal penalty. We're not going to be able to take a 4-hour lunch or a full hour lunch.
Walmart.
Can't take your full hour. We're only going to give you 45 minutes. So union says, you get another half-hour pay, and we're paying you 60 an hour, so that's another $30.
Oh, nice.
All right, let me get my granola bar out, and I'm good to go, So, and then they always paid you travel time, an hour minimum to and from the shoot, and you're like, are you kidding me? Who does that? That's union for you.
Meanwhile, in Arizona.
Yeah, in Arizona, it's like whatever. What do you got? We'll work you for, cut your own deal. But and then when it comes to getting paid, let me say this: if you have not worked for the client before, you really need to try to get half up front, unless you're working under a production company that's here in town or something that's paying you, because I've seen so many people not get paid, because we're in a business, right, where it's like whatever you did, let's say we're doing a live shot, or for whoever, Tom Cruise is in town, he's pushing some new restaurant he owns or something, so you're there on the crew, maybe you're running the camera, it's a live shot's going back, is there on Entertainment Tonight or some shit, and when it's done, right? So now you go to get your money and then they don't pay. It's like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to grab back? What are you getting back? Nothing, right? Or like, if Chad's shooting this and I was a client and I needed the card, and he hands me the card, then that's it. I got the card. You got nothing. So you got to remember, I've seen that happen to a lot of people.
The attitude is that times it's like, all right, well, sue me.
Yeah, exactly. And then, or sue me in California, because that's where I'm based out of. Good luck. Good luck on that one.
$150 a day rate.
Yeah.
How much it's going to cost you to get it?
Yeah. So, check around. If you haven't heard the company, check with somebody. You call me or something or whatever. But the other thing I've noticed, my company still pays 30 days. A lot of companies are gone to 60.
90.
Because it's like,
That's after the work.
it's oh yeah. Or they do the thing where we'll pay in 30, and then on 30th day you call. Did you send your invoice? You email it to me?
Yeah.
Can you resend that?
It's got a good story.
No, yeah. What's the reason for that? For
Re-
the 30-day or 60-day?
When I started the business, it was always you got to work 10 hours a day, not 8, and you had to work 30 days net. And I was like, APS and companies like that don't work. I don't tell APS I'll pay in 30. My bill's due September. I'll pay in another 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, it just got dark in here. What the hell?
You just turned off your electricity.
the hell's that all about? You know, I don't know who started that. If I find them, I'm gonna beat their ass. Okay, but now you know how it is. You kick the door open a little bit. Now they're like, you know, they do 30, maybe they do 60. You know, and there's a lot of people, right? So it's like, but I'm like, you know, maybe I'm in a better position than other people, but I'm like 60, not doing it. Homie, don't play that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and 10 hours is 10. Have some clients go, well, you know, the first couple hours, you know, our talent wasn't. That means what to me?
Yeah.
I mean, jack shit to me. I don't care. It's 10 hours. If I get a lunch in there, I get a lunch. If I don't, I don't. I mean, if you work in this business and you don't have some sort of food provision on you, then you will soon get some food provision on you on the next shoot. Trust me. Well, I thought I was going to have a lunch. Yeah, well, we're behind. You know, so always just have some food with you.
There's actually was a production out here within the last 2 years during the summer out in the desert,
Nice.
away from any town, no bathrooms, no water, no food. Yeah, for a full day.
That's insane.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, and if you're the producer on that, you're an idiot because you get sued for that. You know, if someone dies. I mean, come on. This isn't brain surgery. We're not flying planes. This is entertainment / you know, informative stuff. But it's like, come on. You don't want to, I mean, treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't feed people cardboard pizza more than one day. Maybe get away with it for one day. Don't do that on the second day. I mean, come on, man. You're asking these people to give 100% of their creativity, 100% of their work. If anyone's ever been on a set, you're lugging around lights is that easy? No. And here's the deal. When we finish the project, I don't care if it's a 48-hour challenge, it's a 3-minute video, or it's a 90-minute. Here's what happens. People watch it and they go, huh, yeah, what are you doing now? I'm getting ready to punch you is what I'm doing now. I'm breathing out, dude. That took a year of my life. Or they're like, yeah, I watched the first 15. It wasn't for me. What the you know? So, I mean, that's the business that we're in, right? It's not like you composed a little song by yourself on a guitar. You know, we had this whole group in here. We just did this major thing. We thought it was awesome, right? And then you get people going, I don't know. Wasn't my thing. More than Angry Birds. So, you know, but I know this. I'd rather have a response of, that's the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen, versus somebody going, you know what I mean? I mean, you want to elicit some sort of response, right? So, I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, we've all watched, I remember when Eyes Wide Shut came out, what's his name's last film? I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, and I was like, that's a piece of shit. But I can't say that because he died. You know, his wife, and I don't know if you know the story, but his wife finished the film. He died.
Wow.
He died in the middle of the film. They shot like 2 million feet of film, which is like 10 times more than anyone ever shot. And I thought, you know what? I think he's like just pulled his pants down and like just mooned us on this, because it's like the name of the movie is Eyes Wide Shut. That's how you should watch it. That's how you should watch it. But nobody could rip it because it's him, and I loved his other stuff, and he died. You can't rip him. I was like, that's brilliant, man. That's the way you go out. Gotcha! His wife, she had no experience in the business. And that's another interesting thing about this business. Think about it. We can't be pilots or you know, brain surgeons or something. You got to be certified. And I know some of you can tell me you got an AVID certification or Final Cut, but the bottom line really is anybody in Starbucks can be a producer. That's the plus and that's the minus. A lot of the producers I found in this town over the years, real estate agents. You go, what? No, follow me. Makes sense. Real estate agents know a lot of people. Very personable. They sell homes, make a lot of money. That means they know doctors, they know dentists, they know attorneys. Well, guess what? Doctors and dentists and attorneys make a lot of money. They need tax shelters, they need tax breaks. They also need, if they're guys, they need hot girls. So it's like, hey, if I could be a producer of this project. So eventually the real estate agents start thinking, hey, I should just be a TV producer too. And then, remember, they got all the wherewithal, so they can get production insurance like that. And then they'll go hire you guys that are all creative, pay you next to nothing, because they're like, look, I'm going to give you a lot of work. A lot of work's coming your way. So if you cut me a deal on this project, you know. And then you guys bust your ass, and they do this pilot for this doctor that thinks he wants to be a chef. So we're going to do a half-hour, you know. And he pays her, let's call the real estate agent a girl. He pays her $75K, and she pays out the staff maybe 10. She makes 65, and they move on to the next thing. And we took it to, you know, we took it to the NAPTE, National Association of Television Producers and Executives, which is where you go to push shows. I've been there before. Took it to NAPTE, it didn't go. So, yeah. And the guy's like, 75, that's no big deal. I mean, I'm going to write it off anyway. That's the game they play, man. I see it all the time. They drive up in the Jaguar, you know, and they hire somebody, production manager, make sure everything's going okay, maybe get an extra 100. Yeah, and then if it comes out really well, then it's like, yeah, that's right, I'm the producer of that. So, collectively, you guys can defeat that. You can defeat that by just, there's power in numbers. I can't go lift a car up out in the parking lot, but I can tell you right now, all of us go out there, we'll go lift a car up. There's no doubt, we'll go lift up a car. So, just remember that. So I have formed, this is the last thing I'm going to say because I know I've talked for a while and didn't mean to talk this long. But I have what I call the Arizona Creative Collective, which I have registered, so can't even steal it. Don't even try. It's done. Arizona Creative Collective, where what I'm doing now is I'm building a site where I'm putting people's work. I don't care if you're a fashion photographer, you're an editor, animator, DP, whatever. I invite you to meet with me, put your work on my site, and what we do is I go out as a producer and push this work. This is what the collective can do for you. You're, say, a client. Here's some of the examples of the collective. You need a website. Here's one of the guys that do web. I don't push their names. I just push it as a collective. You see something you like. Turns out, oh, you liked what Chad shot as a DP. I give Chad a call, and then Chad gets the work through me, because usually you need a producer on a project, so most times it'd be me or one of the other people that are producer. But guess what? Paying you in 30 days, and I'm paying your rate.
Awesome.
Because I'm tired of people getting jacked in the creative side, and I'm tired of people that have a lot of money coming into our little game, dipping in and out, dipping in and out. So I was like, I got maybe 10 more years in this business, so why don't I cause a little trouble?
Cool.
Become Arizona Creative Collective, and also I don't have to constantly go out and try to guess what clients want to see, because I don't care how much work you've done. I had this happen recently. It's like, we just shot this commercial for a Palms Resort in Vegas. There's a gelato place called Chocolat, which is a weird name for a gelato company, because I thought they were selling chocolate. But who's arguing? They're paying the bill. That's the name of the gelato company, Chocolat, with no E at the end. Chocolat. It's Italian. Anyway, we shot this spot for him. And so then I was talking to one of these plumbing, George Brazil Plumbing was looking for, they wanted to go in a new direction. Yeah, and I thought their spots kind of sucked. Yeah. So, yeah. So I pitched them and stuff, and they're like, we like what you're doing. It's very creative and awesome, but do you have an example of a plumbing spot? Well, no, I don't. Oh, that's unfortunate. Because see, remember, see, we're creative. We understand if we can do if I go do a daco in Egypt, then trust me, I can do your plumbing spot. Okay? But they don't make that connection. So see, under the Creative Collective, we'll have more examples of work. So it's like, yeah, we actually do have a plumbing spot. Here it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, just always be thinking about what. Remember, those people on the outside, we speak a language. They don't know red. They don't know time-based, all these words we throw around, this and that, whatever. They don't know any of that. All they know is this, you know. They don't know, or you try to tell them a look. This is a DSLR look or prime look versus. And how much is it going to cost? And what? So anyway, I'm going to leave it on that note. The Arizona Creative Collective. Awesome. I'll hand out my cards, and I've talked way too long. But if there are any questions, I will definitely entertain any questions at this point. Yes, sir.
What you talked about, like just working with corporate. What
Yeah.
about programs like Kickstarter and GoFundMe?
Absolutely. I think they're awesome. Yeah, and we've used them. We did a Kickstarter for Voice Trekkers. We actually built the entire bridge for season 2 off of that. Biggest problem about any of those is they've been around now, and so there's like, I don't even know the number, but if you go to Kickstarter right now or Indiegogo or whatever, fundme.com or something, I don't know, whatever, helpme.com, who knows, maybe that's a new one. But it's like going into a classroom and there's 25,000 people waving their hand. I mean, because it's like, do you think people wake up in the morning, I got an extra grand, let me just go on, let me spend the next 5 hours on Indiegogo and just kind of go through. No, so the point is you got to get it in front of people. And then everyone's so inundated now with emails and Twitters and all this stuff. So it's a great resource, but how do you get above the fray? I don't have the answer 100% other than persistence of vision, and you always got to be thinking about what are we doing differently than someone else? What are we doing differently? But sure, I mean, we've all known that concept when we were a kid. You're like walking around going, man, if everyone gave me a dime or a quarter, I wouldn't have to work for the rest of my life. Because there's millions of people, and who cares about a quarter here, So it's that concept. It's just now gone globally, but how do you get noticed? Because even if you sent the email, let's say you had 1,000 friends and you sent it to 1,000, it's probably half of them are going to delete it or not read it. Nothing against you. It's just sort of like, how many emails can I have today? I got to get back playing Angry Birds. I mean, so. But no, they're viable, and it's a great way to raise funds because, and then if not that, just get in association with people. There's a lot of equipment that's setting in this town. I know people that just have gear just setting. And if you approach them and you had insurance and you were professional, you probably can get the gear. That's usually why people don't lend their gear out. You don't have any insurance. You know what? Insurance isn't that high. It's not really. And if you need help on that, get a hold of me because I can give you some ideas. Don't talk yourself out of lunch. You know what I'm saying? Just list the positives, not the negatives. Okay? And whatever the negative is, you can overcome. I didn't have half of what you guys got, but I just had, we're going to do this. We're going to find the people, and we're just going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to show them, because everyone says you can't, and then they get angry when you do, because you proved them wrong. You made them look bad, but that wasn't my intention. But I mean, I remember when I did my first feature, a lot of people were like, wow, somebody had to give you money, and they had every reason. It's like, no, we just did it, okay? Hard work, we did it. And then we sold it, so suck on that, You know what I mean? It didn't just go to the film festival. And I'm not against festivals. I've done the 48-hour challenge. We've won it 2 or 3 times. They're fun. It's all good. But sometimes it's nice to monetize your creativity. Because this isn't a hobby, unless it is for you. I don't know. It's not for me. It's a business. So, any other questions? That's it. I greatly appreciate your time. Sorry to take up so much of it. Thanks, man.
You guys have any questions back there? These are my superstars.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
These guys won't ask.
Please.
All right, so these guys are getting ready to graduate.
Yes.
They want to start going out looking for jobs.
Yep.
And they want to start getting some things. You've hit on some of the things, but could you just recap a little bit? As a producer yourself, these guys come up to you and say, hey,
Right.
I want to work for you.
Yep.
What are you looking for?
Okay.
For
Oh, that's
these
a great
Absolutely. I can tell you absolutely what I'm looking for. First thing I'm going to say is, well, what do you see as your best skill? And let's say you say I'm a DP. I'm on the next question. What cameras have you used? I don't want to hear, like I hear from ASU students, I think we have HD gear. No, I want to hear make and model. And if you're using a DSR or RED or something like that, I want to hear what primes. I want to hear 50 and 85. I don't want to hear, is it fast? Is it 1.2? I want to hear some language. I don't want to hear, the cameras and stuff and what, specifics, because it's a business. Okay, maybe you're into lighting. Okay, what are you using? Using Chinese 900s? What are you using? Using Kinoflow? I want to hear. And then maybe show me an example of that that's specific. A lot of times people show me an example of this project and they were grip on it. That's cool, but it's like, I need to know, like,
Cool if you're applying for a grip job.
yeah, but you wrote this, or you lit this, or you did the editing on this, and what system did you use? How long did it take? I used Final Cut 7, I used After Effects, whatever. It took me 3 days. Producer did a reshoot, we added language, stuff. I don't care about the degree, whether you have one or not. I have 2, so awesome, I can rip on them. Not ripping on them big time, but I'm just saying, degree's nice, but moving forward, what can you bring to the project? Why should you be the person? And then if I say, okay, well, I'll bring you on for the first project for no charge, you're just going to work for free and we'll see, and you 7 o'clock call and show up at 7:15, sorry, done. It's just being honest. Show up at 6:55, you do a nice job, you work hard, you make mistakes and you learn from them. Next shoot, you're going to be paid. It's that simple. People want to continue to use you for free, stop it. Unless you're getting something very valuable. You know what I mean? Very valuable. Like someone putting you on a project where, hey, I can't pay, but you're going to go roam for the week. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I've been there enough. I'm like, I don't think so. Pizza's not that good. Gelato's awesome though. Yeah. But you have a ticklet. So it's like, look, we only got one life that we know of. Maybe there's another one, I don't know. But this ain't a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing, and begin. This is it, and begin, as I always tell people. So get a friggin' passport and a business card and a resume. Be able to email it at a moment's notice. With a professional email address. You can have, your little fuzzykitten2 at hotmail.com, but probably not use that one for, you can get, what, 7 email addresses on, right? So find one that maybe a little better than fuzzycat.2 or something.
Can you touch base just briefly on the working for free kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because we do get a lot of those requests,
Right.
and I try to filter through a lot
Right.
of those. But can you give them some tips
Yeah.
on when to know when to take
Absolutely.
one of those or not?
Yeah. I started in the business, I did stuff for free because if it was something I'd never done before and it sounded like it would benefit me, and I'm doing it. Anytime it's for free, I would need to know, and I still do, I mean, I'm telling you, I do stuff full rate or I do it, I have a nonprofit arm, it's called Inside Creative Minds, it's a nonprofit. I do stuff either free or full rate. Reason being is, when you charge full rate, people very rarely complain. When you reduce your rate, they always bitch.
That's interesting.
It's the way it is, trust me. So if I do it for free, guess what? If it's not working, I'm done. Yeah, you know. But usually what do I do for free? Stuff I really believe in, social type things, or something I find really cool or something. Obviously, less free things now than I used to. But if it's something that you didn't learn at the Art Institute or something you really want to do or you want to get in with that group or something, you know, find out the whole deal. If they can't tell you pretty much what it is, it's probably not the thing to do. If they're just, oh, it'll be great, come on over, and then they end up shooting all day in the heat or some shit like that, come on, man. Find out what it is. You know, hey, I'm very interested. I understand you're not paying for this, but you know, want to do my dues in the business. You know, use some of the buzzwords that people appreciate. People who've been in business a while expect other people to be able to pay their dues to some degree. Now that doesn't mean you have to constantly work for free, but sometimes that's going to set yourself. Remember, the thing is, I always believe I get in front of the client, I will get the gig. I will get their contract if I get in front of them. But if they're just choosing me, going online looking for production companies or whatever, maybe not. But get in front of them. So you got to believe I'm going to get on this crew, and they're going to need me. They're going to need me. They're going to see the value in me. You know, not in such a narcissistic way, but it's like, I'm going to show up. What can I do? I don't know how to do this, but show me. Show me how to wrap cable. I don't know how to wrap. You know, I've worked on truck shoots and stuff, over, under. Some people don't know how to do that. But if you come up and go, hey, could you show me? I'd really like to learn, versus, I don't think I want to do that. You know, it's just the way you come across, you know.